is Newstalk.
Welcome back to The Hard Shoulder. Well, there were happy scenes in Dublin today as Ibrahim Halawa arrived back in Ireland after spending 4 years in a Cairo prison. The Department of Foreign Affairs and government played an instrumental role in negotiating his release. But a man facing 12 years in jail in the Philippines says he feels abandoned by the Irish government. Eanna O'Coughlin from Blackrock, Cork, was arrested at Leog International Airport in the Philippines in 2013. Security staff claimed they found 0.3 grams of cannabis in his cigarette box, which Eanna says was planted there as part of an extortion attempt for cash. He was later sentenced to 12 years in prison, but was released on pending bail. I spoke to Eanna O'Coughlin from the Philippines a short while ago and asked him why he thinks his case has received so little attention.
I think possibly because the word drug is in my case. They nicely ignore the fact that I'm actually a drug addiction specialist nurse. I've worked for 30 years as a general nurse in intensive care and psychiatry. My last substantive post was working in the South Australian government, dealing specifically with methamphetamine drug addiction. I have no idea why they haven't got behind me. Maybe I'm not cool. Maybe it's not I'm not the flavor of the year. I don't know. You better ask them why. I've got no criminal history. I've been to 28 countries. I've worked all over the world. I am just bamboozled as to why my case is not being dealt with anywhere near like Ibrahim Halawa's.
OK, that was the man himself, Eanna O'Coughlin, speaking to me from the Philippines. The quality of the line was such that we can't play you the full interview with him, where he went into the full circumstances of his arrest and conviction. But it's a pleasure to welcome to The Hard Shoulder a man who is speaking and working on Eanna's behalf in Ireland on the line, Eamonn Gavin. You're welcome to the programme. Eamonn, first of all, how did you come across Eamonn O'Coughlin's case?
Yeah, thanks, Ivan. You're very good. I appreciate you having me on. Eanna was brought to my attention just over 2 years ago by some gentlemen in the United States who I know. They're private investigators, as I am in Ireland. And they have a long experience of the Philippines, etc. Two of them are married to Filipino ladies, as is Eanna, indeed. And they came to know of Eanna's case, and they asked me if I would help them to contact the Irish government and get the Irish government to do something on Eanna's behalf.
So some of the questions I put to him, I'd like to put to you. Tell me how you feel he is innocent.
Well, the chaps in the United States told me initially that they had looked into it thoroughly and that as far as they're concerned, he's innocent. But on a broader scale, people can believe that or can't believe it. That's up to them. But just assume for one moment that he is guilty of carrying these things in his pocket and that he used them, etc., etc., and assume that it was less than 1 gram, a third of a gram of marijuana in cigarettes, found, by the way, on I believe the fourth search. I've been guilty of saying the third search before. They were found in his possession on the fourth search in a cigarette box, just 2 cigarettes with some marijuana in it. Now, if he were guilty, 12 to 14 years sentence is absolutely appalling, over the top and ridiculous, but still nothing is being done about it, despite the fact that they have been told repeatedly that the man is innocent, despite the fact that it's well known in the Philippines and around the world that there is a thing called tanim or tanim droga. Tanim is planting a bullet in somebody's luggage at the departure airport. Tanim droga is planting drugs in their possessions at the departure airport. They then asked, as Eanna asked for money. He refused to pay. His wife got on the plane back. He told her to carry on back home. And Eanna was arrested, sentenced to 12 to 14 years in prison. And the Irish government, despite its protestations, and I don't mind saying this publicly, and I've told them themselves, despite the answers from previous Minister for Foreign Affairs, Charlie Flanagan in the Dáil, a lot of plámás, a lot of platitudes, they're effectively doing nothing. We even have in the Freedom of Information document where various diplomats, certainly one diplomat who was going to Manila and sent back a brief to the Department of Foreign Affairs in Dublin saying that he was going, that he had been asked to visit Eanna. He didn't really want to see him, and they're his own words. He didn't really want to meet him, but he thought that it would look bad if he didn't meet him. They're doing effectively nothing for him. All they say is, we're doing everything we can, he's a priority, etc., etc. When you ask them, will they do this, that or the other, they ignore it. I've been writing to them for the last 2 years. Well, certainly well over a year. I only came on board 2 years ago. I've been writing to them for over a year. Both Taoiseach Kenny and now Taoiseach Varadkar, Taoiseach Flanagan, Minister for Foreign Affairs Flanagan, and now Minister for Foreign Affairs Simon Coveney, asking them 3 questions. Will they phone President Duterte on humanitarian grounds? That's number 1. Yes or no. Will they meet with Eanna's wife, Jo Coughlin, who's a Filipino lady and a lovely lady, and she's a nurse as well? Will they meet if she comes over to Dublin? They want the answer yes or no. And the third one is, will they find out where Eanna's passport is, which after all is the property of the Irish Minister for Foreign Affairs? Will they find out where that is? It was taken from him by the courts. And they totally and utterly ignore my letters. I sent you a copy there today. I think you might have seen it. I don't know, of my latest letter. I've remained the height of diplomacy as far as I'm concerned, despite the fact that I've felt like saying, what the hell are you doing? You're doing nothing. I've asked them repeatedly, will they answer those questions? And all they do is totally and utterly ignore those 3 questions. And people will say, well, what have you done, Eamon? You've been here for 2 years trying to do stuff. We put our faith in the Irish government, Ivan, to do something for Eanna Coughlin. We wanted to keep it low key so that we did not upset President Duterte. And all we asked the Irish government, give the president a phone call, ask him on humanitarian grounds, not interfering on legal grounds, ask him on humanitarian grounds, will you possibly consider seeing what you could do for Eanna Coughlin? And they will not make that one single phone call. And I think it's an absolute disgrace, and I hope the Irish people do as well.
Is there a kind of deportation solution?
Well, that would be something that the Irish... I'm not the Taoiseach, unfortunately. I wish I were, but if the Taoiseach made that phone call and asked, what is the solution? But nobody seems to be interested. Nobody seems to care less about him. I'm treated almost like a crank. They won't even, I won't mention the name, but the Taoiseach's private secretary, the last time I spoke with him, the only time I got through to him on the telephone, he was very nice and polite and all the rest of it. He said he would come back to me with some answer to those 3 questions that I keep answering. Now when I phone up, he's either on holidays, he's out of the office, they'll give him the message, and now when I ring up I say I'll just give Mr. So-and-so another laugh for himself, because he probably thinks that I'm some sort of idiot ringing up. Hopefully I'm not an idiot, I don't think I am, but they treat us as such, and I just can't understand it. By the way, as far as Eanna being innocent, there are certain things that point very directly towards it. He has asked for analysis of the cigarettes, DNA analysis, and then they mysteriously disappeared after he asked for DNA analysis to show that he hadn't even handled them. And they disappeared, and now they're not there. The Irish government has never picked up on that. It's never picked up on anything. They said that in the court evidence was given that there was no CCTV at that particular position on the airport. There was. The Leog Airport is riddled with CCTV. They know exactly what's happening. And it's a well-known crime. President Duterte knows it's a well-known crime. I have every faith in, despite the fact that it being looked at as a very hard man, he has serious problems with drugs in the Philippines. He's trying to clean it up. Maybe he's doing it in an overly exerted way. Eanna is out effectively in hiding. People don't know his address. He's afraid now of getting shot, as we all are. And the Irish government, I wouldn't like to say they'll have blood on their hands. I'm not that sort of person, but I leave it to the Irish people to decide whether who's to blame and who's not to blame in this one.
Gavin, thank you for talking to us on The Hard Shoulder. Eanna has asked that we direct listeners to a website, voicesfromabox.com, to find out about more of those detailed in prison in the Philippines and the conditions there.